Knudsen. I'm the executive director of DemCast. We're a 501c4 nonprofit organization focused on winning the messaging war. We do that by empowering people to use their social media accounts to spread strategic messaging.
So then you're going to be plenty busy this year because this is an uphill battle. I'm not going to tell you anything you don't know.
Yeah.
But I've decided, and part of why I'm doing this, even this podcast, is because the DNC, I feel, has really kind of compromised our ability to message. And it's almost like the perfect storm of bringing it back to we the people in a way, because if we look to our government always for the answer, we're going to always be left holding the bag, you know? And I feel like, and the reason why I want to talk to you today, because I am feeling like I am personally embarking on what you've probably been doing for a living, but I come, and as you might know, from a place of like outrage at our political situation, but I'm coming up formulating a really great plan, and I think you'll be really an excellent part of it, because I've already started taking meetings with the DNC, which even though they're annoying, but you can't ignore Mother Nature, you know what I mean? And run for something, and no Dems left behind, and you know, grassroots Dems, and I want to be part of putting together people that are all about the messaging. And the podcast, I'm going to be interviewing a lot of these people that are running for office that I feel, you know, are really up against odds because the DNC doesn't go to them. But the great thing about what I've established with the DNC, I'm just giving you an up-to-date on why I'm pulling you into my bullshit, is because we were on a call, on a Zoom with them saying, this is no time to reestablish Jamie Harrison because he's squandered all of his goodwill. This is going to be left to people like TikTokers and influencers to be able to do the messaging. So we're going to have to come up with some kind of something that it's a priority for the DNC to get a certain message out that we can disseminate and do whatever and do online events and bullshit. And we can be crazy like we are with the message that they're not able to communicate. So that's what they know they're going to have to do, is to work with us in a way that makes sense for us, not necessarily for them. And I want to hear more about how you started your business. And you know, I just, in podcasts, I try to keep it as like aggressive as possible, because I just feel like there's so many podcasts out there. And I think that what we're going to embark on is the most important thing for the next year.
Yeah. I could not agree more. I mean, I founded an organization with effectively the same mission of what you were just talking about. Democrats do have a messaging problem, but I actually tend to think of it less as a problem about what the message is and more of a structural problem about getting the message out. And that's what you're speaking to. They're definitely not perfect, but they are communicating. It's just there's so much noise that that kind of top-down communication approach just isn't going to work anymore. And so it is incumbent upon all of us, whether we're TikTok influencers or you know, people with 100 followers on Twitter, to use our social media accounts to spread the message about our movement, about what the Republicans are doing to this country. And it really is going to take an army of us to break through the noise. So
an army, actually hear it. An actual army.
An actual digital army, yep.
I mean, what do we have to do? Like, to get to the point where the Women's March in January of 17, like what's going to have to happen to bring us back out into the streets? I'm not talking about Trump winning again. I mean, I'm talking
Right.
about before 22.
I don't know. I think if Democrats can't get the voting rights bills to pass, we're gonna have to do something. That seems like the most mission critical issue at the moment, because if Republicans retake power democratically, by winning elections, and they get power again, they are not going to give it up. So we have to do whatever we need to do to make sure that we have access to the ballot, and that our voting rights are secured.
I mean, if worst case scenario, which unfortunately I'm trying to not live by, but if we don't get voting rights, if we mobilized enough people, but sheer numbers, wouldn't that matter? Wouldn't that be the answer?
Yeah, we're going to have to. I mean, that's the next. I mean, I wish we could just will 3 million people to go to DC today, and,
Yeah.
and just descend and say, like, get rid of the filibuster, just take care of business, and just make it really clear that's what needs to happen. It's just really hard to do. It's really hard to mobilize, like physically mobilize large numbers of people.
But what about
especially
what about that indivisible guy? I mean, what he did during when the kids were being in the concentration camps in the US border. So many people showed up in 700 cities. I mean,
the Families Belong Together rallies were exceptionally successful at drawing attention to that. I think that there's something that we're contending with now that we weren't contending with at that point. One is that it matters. Donald Trump is not in office. And voters who elected Joe Biden feel like they kind of did their part. And a lot of people have checked out, which is exceptionally dangerous. So we're contending with that. And then we're also just contending with the fact that this damn pandemic's been going on for 2 years now. And people are tired and not feeling positive about life, and a lot of people are just like turned off. The political noise has gotten worse. They're just turning inward, and we see it a lot in our membership, which was really rocking and rolling before the 2020 election, and then a lot of people disengaged in 2021. So it's gonna take something,
like a certain kind of event, like
it's gonna take
a border,
yep,
women losing their rights to
yes,
abortion,
next
gay
June,
marriage. Get those queens back out there,
right. Next June could definitely be one of those moments when the Supreme Court rules on Roe versus Wade.
Which is another thing I wanted to mention to you is that, and I'm talking to those other organizations about, like I don't think the Democrats have the equivalent. Now, don't laugh when I say this, but like Turning Point USA, these kind of 2-3 day events where it's like really generates enthusiasm in media and relationships and whatever. Mm-hmm. But the Dems needs to do something like that. I mean, and which is what I think we need to plan around the June, that thing in DC, when we can actually get 3 million. If we don't have voting rights by June and we end up losing women's rights, if that doesn't get like millions of people out, then I'm moving to Mexico or Israel, anywhere but here. I will not live in a fascist country with that big buffoon back in the White House.
And that's where we'd be headed.
So I want to work towards doing some kind of activation like that. And of course, I would only do that once I have all the organizations and whatever media pieces in mind, because it would, there are so many people that I'm starting to interview that are running for, whether it's in Missouri and this guy in North Carolina and whatever. And they're just, it gives me a lot of hope who's running.
Yeah.
They, of course, need to get messaging out, whatever, but I figured we would do something like this after all the primaries, because you don't want to just waste anyone's time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that that would be something that you'd want to be involved with too, because it's about messaging and messaging.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
even if we do a series of events that are smaller around the country when the weather changes, for sure, I just think that, you know, as I said, you know, when Olivia Rodrigo went to the White House in a Chanel suit, I mean, did her followers run and get, you know, did they register to vote? Or did they run in to see if they could go to the Real and get that suit? You know what I mean? Anyway, I need help. That's what the situation is.
Yeah. Well, luckily there are a ton of people who agree, and a lot of really great activists who are working in this space. So there's plenty of people to collaborate with. But DemCast, we have over 125 partners, partner organizations that we work with on the messaging front and mobilization front. So it takes a lot of work to because you don't want to create a partnership and then just so you can put it on your website or whatever, right? You want to really work with people. So that takes time and energy, but it's worth it because it helps to draw the movement together, and that's what we need. It's been really fragmented. You know, a lot of organizations, especially like on the organizational side, a lot of organizations started after Trump with very parallel missions. So there's kind of these activist silos that are that have formed, and the good thing about social media is that it's a way to bring everybody together, because to almost entirely, whether it's like a small indivisible group in some corner of the country, or it's a really big, well-established organization, they don't do social media well, and they need help.
I won't live in a country that is going to go that backwards. I can't. My mom survived the ghettos and the concentration camps, and what's happening is way too part of the nightmares I grew up with, kind of just knowing that that's what that story was. So it's very important that, I mean, I've tucked away enough money for me to live on, if, you know, till November 8th, you know, if I do nothing else, you know. So I whatever and whoever wants to join this, you know, here we are.
Good. Well, you're an awesome human being for taking this on, and we need you, and you know, any way that DemCast can partner and support what you're doing and amplify what you're doing, we're excited to do that.
We'll figure out for sure. So because you're a 501c4, was it? Are you not in a position to get behind candidates? I'm just curious. How does that work?
We can. Some C4s can't. The reason that we can is because we don't spend any money on, I mean, because that's all related to expenditures, right? But we don't, everything we do is organic. So we do coordinate with candidates, and it's totally gotten it all checked out with the lawyers and all that kind of stuff. So
right.
Yeah.
Because I mean, are you going to be and like identifying certain candidates that you're getting behind? Like, are you familiar with No Dems Left Behind? Your
I do.
organization?
I am. We don't do that.
Okay.
We don't get involved in primaries. Uh, our individual members, so just people with social media accounts who do, amplification work through DemCast, are always free to, post about whoever they want, right? And we organize people geographically by districts and states, and help to facilitate collaboration between them
Right.
in social media spaces. And some of them are for this person, and some of them are for this person, and we just try and keep it civil. And DemCast Central doesn't throw weight behind anybody until the primaries are over.
Right. And are there any races in particular that you're obsessed with, that you want to go go down in flames? I have my favorites.
Oh, in terms of the Republican list, I having been through a couple of cycles of really closely watched electoral activism, I'm going into 2022 with really, really reserved expectations about flipping things and kicking GOP monsters out of office. In the 2020 cycle, we had this huge map in terms of House races, like all these seats we wanted to flip. We flipped one seat, Georgia 7, Carolyn Bordeaux 1. We didn't flip any other seat. And that was like a 50-50 district, right? So some of these districts that are like are plus 24 or something like that, with even though the Republicans that are in those seats are like literally the worst people on the planet, it's very unlikely to happen. And what I'm worried about, like with last cycle, is if we're obsessed with trying to unseat in places where we're very unlikely to win, we're taking attention away from seats like Cindy Axne, in Iowa, lost by like, I don't know, 250 votes or something last cycle. And that wasn't a sexy district or anything, and people weren't really paying attention to it, but we should have been. So I focus a little bit less on who I want to kick out, and a little bit more on kind of who we want to make sure wins.
I will not live in a country that goes in the direction that this GOP thinks it's going.
Yeah.
It will be literally not over necessarily my dead body, but somebody's dead body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's dark. It's dark. I've got 2 kids. I don't have
How
any
old?
interest. They're 11 and 9 now. So middle school and 3rd grade. I especially like with the Roe decision, and all these things, like, I don't know, but for now it's fight, right?
Yeah, no, I'm in and you're in, and I just think we need to, and I will just keep in touch with you anyway, but I feel like this is manageable. I feel like we can do this, and I feel like we can win. And I know so many people are disillusioned already and are on the naysaying train that Trump's going to win. And it's like, I refuse. Everyone thought Hillary was going to win. So it's that same mindset that I just don't listen to anybody that gets outside of what could we do today.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of time between now and the 2024 election. A lot of things could happen.
Oh, like war and
right,
like famine,
right.
and like, the 12 plagues of Israel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
the indictments are going to be delish.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, we have yet to have the like Watergate-y kind of McCarthy moments. That's coming.
It is coming. They're gonna start doing public hearings. The select committee, probably in February. So, and they'll do like primetime stuff, and so it'll get juicier. I know it feels slow for people, but actually, as these things go, they're moving at a pretty good clip. So, everybody should just hang in there and grab some popcorn when the moment comes.
Yeah, I mean, the holidays is always weird around the holidays. Everyone just needs to revisit. Let's pick this conversation up on January 6th.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be a day to remember.
Yeah, like, it will be. And everybody should know there are going to be nationwide candlelight visuals and other actions taking place on January 6th. So that's going to be a really important day for everybody to be out.
Yeah. Oh, I can't. The internet's going to be agog with deliciousness.
Yep.
All right. Well, listen, have a Merry Christmas and a happy holiday and a happy everything. And thank you for your time. And I will be in touch.
All right. Sounds great.
And I'll keep you posted. This will be in January.
Okay. Oh, great. Okay.
Okay, cool.
All right.